Hello, Summit viewers. I'm Heather McCutcheon, and this is another wonderful session as part of our 10th annual Global Healing Summit. I'm here with Gwen Allison, a returning guest back by popular demand. And before we jump into our topic, let me tell you a little bit about Gwen. Gwen Allison, founder of My Spiritual Butterfly, is a CNHC verified, that's Complementary and Natural Healthcare Council verified Usui Reiki master teacher trained in both Eastern and Western lineages. Her spiritual journey began over 15 years ago, inspired by powerful teachings such as the law of attraction and the secret, as well as transformational guides like Deepak Chopra and Dr. Joe Dispenza. Following her own life-changing experiences, a painful divorce, and the loss of close loved ones, and a stressful redundancy, Gwen became a transformational life coach in 2008 to help other women over 40 to connect with their true purpose so they can live more fulfilling and joyful lives. She also became a Reiki practitioner in 2015 and spent the last 7 years teaching all levels of Reiki, running numerous Reiki workshops and retreats, as well as offering an advanced professional Reiki diploma that enables practitioners to work in hospitals in the UK. Gwen's heartfelt mission is simple but powerful: for Reiki to become a natural part of everyday life with a Reiki healer in every home. Gwen's topic today is how to use Reiki for anxiety relief. Gwen, welcome to the summit.
Thank you, Heather. Really happy to be here. The second time around, I'm really honored. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. We're thrilled to have you share with us today. And boy, a Reiki healer in every home. Wouldn't that be a
I'd
dream?
love that. Yes. I
How
would
far
love that.
away? Let's just put a year out there. Where can we manifest for that? What do you think? 2030?
With maybe 2030, with all the Reiki practitioners out there, it's definitely flowing out. There's a lovely wave of healers being put on this earth, I think. So yeah, it's possible. I think it's possible.
We'll put that out there. We'll put intention
Yeah,
on that.
let's do that.
Because the way things are going now, boy, we all can use a little anxiety relief today in this day and age.
Exactly.
So let's jump into our topic and hear what you have to share with us. So just for today, I will not worry is one of the 5 Reiki precepts that Mikao Usui wanted us to contemplate on a daily basis. What is your understanding of worry, and why is it important for us to manage it?
I think we understand, I think Mikao Usui also understood that worry and also obviously anger cause the most problems in our body and in our lives. And I think he also had an idea that worry creates. So when we're worried about something, something may be coming up in the future, we're taking the worst case scenario and we're focused on that scenario with all of our energy. We're visualizing how it's going to go. We're hearing conversations in our head. And that really is a bit of it's almost like manifesting, but it's manifesting what we don't want instead of what we do want. The other thing we're doing when we're worrying is we're asking disempowering questions. What if it goes wrong? What if it goes wrong? And we could easily switch to, okay, what if it goes right? But these thoughts are triggering our fight or flight system, which, as we know, is a huge reaction in the body to impending danger, harm to us in some way, or even death. But now we're triggering that really through just our thoughts and our worries about maybe the day ahead, or a meeting we might have with our manager, or something our partner said, or even money worries. But they're not life-threatening things. But this reaction in the body is absolutely huge. So it is important to have us understand that we can start to manage that, soothe that, and calm that, so it doesn't become a disease, it doesn't become a problem with us maybe mentally, and even disconnect us spiritually. We never get disconnected, but we can't get there if we're on this other lower frequency of worry and stress. So it's important. It was relevant 100 years ago. It's still relevant now, even more, as you said, with what's going on in the world today. Everyone is just worried about stuff. We're so inundated with news and social media. There's no off button for a lot of people now. We're just being fed this. It's important to have a way to counteract this and understand that we are powerful. We can control our thoughts. And then that starts to create a different sort of world out there. It reminds me a little bit of Sehiki, which is the second Reiki symbol, which is very much about our inner world, our mental world, but understanding that creates what we're feeling inside, expands and creates our external world. So even in that, Mikhail Yusu is pointing to the fact of power of the mind right now. The way of thought is something we need to pay attention to. So yeah.
Absolutely. What a great synopsis. So it sounds like worry is affecting us not only energetically in terms of our manifesting what we don't want, is this kind of a self-sabotage, but also physiologically, what is happening when we get worried, fight or flight, that we might not even be aware of?
Yeah. So obviously we are aware of the fact that our heart rate quickens, the blood pressure rises, but we may not be aware of the fact that the brain is wanting to get our body out of this danger. And so it pulls all the resources, the energy, the blood from our digestive system, for example, and it moves that energy to our arms and legs so that we can run away or fight, basically. So this is why a lot of people have things like digestive problems like celiacs and IBS and Crohn's, usually it's related to stress. Your brain does not prioritize your digestive system over keeping the whole of you alive. Our immune system drops. Again, it's not important to fight an infection or even a virus. It's more important to keep the whole of you alive. So then we're more prone to illnesses and colds and diseases and things like that. And what a lot of people don't realize, Heather, is that we get a little bit less intelligent. So the blood moves from our prefrontal lobe, this is our analytical mind, our reasoning mind. This is where we do our creativity. And it moves from there to the back of the head, which is our reptilian brain. So this is our impulsive action, which is what we need really if we want to get out of danger. And so you can imagine an example of this is if you're in a meeting, for example, and you're not prepared to be called out on anything, but suddenly your manager says, okay, Heather, tell me about XYZ, and you weren't expecting it, and you freeze. And then maybe you say something really silly, and then you walk out and you calm down and think, oh, I should have said this, I should have said that. That's a prime example of how the energy moves from here, the intelligent response, and the emotional intelligence, you could say, where we're pausing about what we're doing, all the way to the impulsive brain, the reptilian brain, to get us out of that situation. So a lot of people don't realize that. And then the other thing that happens is because we're getting really stressed, the body starts to go a little bit acidic, but your brain won't let that happen. So then it starts taking calcium from the joints, from the bones, because it has that kind of alkali, chalky effect, which counteracts the acidity and keeps us in the alkaline. And that obviously causes pain in our joints as well. So if I think about my mom, my late mom, she was such a worrier, Heather. She worried about everything and anything. And she had joint pain. She had problems with her heart, problems with her eyes even. And all of these things were going on because she was just stressed, just constantly in that stress mode. We're also releasing cortisol and adrenaline, which many people have heard of now. And these are action hormones, but we're not taking any action. We're at our computer, typing away, just feeling really stressed, really angry and annoyed at somebody or something that's going on in our lives. And we're not using those hormones. They're meant to go for action. They're meant to come out the body. They're getting stuck in the body, stuck in the joints, and again, causing pain for us. So it can get to the point where, and this is very typical with my mom, that we can get really addicted to those hormones to the point where we identify as that stressful person. And so when some problem is solved, if we've always been used to living on this kind of edge of stress and anxiety, we actually then start looking for something else to worry about.
Oh boy.
And I remember, yeah, we do that. Some of us do. We're there all the time. And I remember my mum, as I said, such a worrier, and I'd sort something out for her, and I'd be like, Mom, it's fine now. It's okay. It's all sorted. She'd be like, oh, thank you, darling. And then she'd find something else to worry about within 5 minutes because that's who she was used to being. So a lot of us aren't comfortable in that quiet, in that space. And so we find ourselves seeking problems almost. As humans, we're hardwired anyway to look out for problems and danger. We need to know if we're under attack, but we've made that our default way of being, some of us. And it's not great on the body. It's not great on the mind. And it means we can't make space for thinking about the things we want, if it makes sense. We spend most of our time thinking about the things we don't want, worrying about the things we don't want day after day. When we wake up, we have a few seconds of okay, and then we reach for that kind of problem, and then it all starts again from there. But yeah, these are things that some people are not familiar with or don't realize is happening physiologically in our body when we go into fight or flight. But it is, your brain is saying to your cells, freeze, we're in danger. I haven't got energy for you to be repairing, healing, multiplying. You just have to freeze. And that's when our cells stagnate, mutate even. And that's a big problem that we're causing ourselves just through our thoughts.
Wow, that's such a
Yeah.
long list of things that can go wrong. And I
I
feel like you're
know.
calling me out a little bit because of the
Oh,
five
am I?
principles. This is the one that I struggle with the most, that I just need to not worry. Everything will be
Yeah.
okay. When you were
But
talking
most of us
about,
worry about that. Sorry to
yeah,
interrupt.
yeah, no, that was fantastic. And as you said, it's important to be able to experience stress and anxiety if there is an actual life-threatening problem. It is a survival skill to go into fight or flight. It saves our lives. But
Yeah.
being late for work or being called on in a meeting is not a life-threatening situation, although it might feel like it
Mm.
sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
the part about the blood going back to the reptilian part of the
Mhm.
brain and not being able to make good decisions in terms of your outcomes in your life, your physiology, you're embarrassing yourself, you're making bad decisions that are not in your best interest. This is just all things that we really want to avoid.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then the other thing I've forgotten to mention is we get very narrow focused because we have to know where the lion is or whoever is attacking us. We have to know where they are. But nowadays it's the mother-in-law, it's the boss at work or whatever. And then in that narrow focus, we're not able to see the bigger picture. We're not able to see any other ideas and any other potentialities and possibilities because we're just in the energy of the problem and the danger. So yeah, yeah,
Missing
but
wonderful
common for everybody.
opportunities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We're not seeing them, even though they may be right in front of us. Our Just thinking about this as well, our subconscious mind will look at our reality, which there's a lot of information in our reality when we're looking at a typical day, so much going on, a lot to see, a lot to hear, a lot of information going into the brain, and we're going into sort of high beta. But your subconscious mind is very good at filtering out the things that don't apply to you, and we have a part of the brain that does that as well, called the reticular activating system, get it right, the RAS, in the brainstem area of the brain. It does a similar thing. So it's like when you decide you want to buy a green car, suddenly you see green cars everywhere. You see that same model that you're looking for everywhere. But before, they were not part of your reality, not part of your focus. And so it's the same when we're in this fight or flight. We just see more problems. We don't see the solutions where we bypass them completely. So again, it's another reason to make sure we can relax out of that so we can start to see new solutions and perspectives, for sure.
Yeah, wow. And are you feeling a contributing factor is what we've learned, what we've been socialized to in terms of what we focus on? Maybe we come from families where negativity or threats were emphasized and focused on, or what are some contributing factors?
Yeah, definitely what we experience when we're growing up. Some of our households can be very fraught with fear and tension, or even needed to get things right, make things perfect. And that feeds into school and what we're taught there. You've got exams, you've got things you have to do. And then the world of work, where everything has to be perfect, everything's highly visible. So we do actually, particularly in the West, we are just highly stressed and we've become acclimatized to that. So when we relax, we think, okay, I'm not stressed now. But I remember a book, and I can't remember the name of the book, but there's a book I read he was a surgeon, heart surgeon, and he realized there was a resonance going on with the heart that attracted more love to it and things like that. It was very powerful. I think he lived in Hawaii or the Philippines, but he did a little survey in this book about just to see how stressed you are. So I did this survey. Do you get stressed when you're late? Yes. Do you meditate? Yes. My score came to something like 33. And then the average in the West was 66. And I'm like, oh God, I'm really relaxed. It's great. I'm really chilled. But for Polynesia, anyone from Polynesia, Hawaii, Philippines, that sort of area, their average score was 8.
Wow.
So my 33 was still high stress. But
Yeah.
I'm so acclimatized to being up there. When you come down, you think, yeah, I'm relaxed. But this is the problem. But yeah, other cultures don't have the stress that we have in the West. They don't. The rushing and the lateness and the got to do this and always going, and the lack of nature sometimes in our environment. So that really hit home for me when I did that survey. You had to come back down to earth with that. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. What tips do you have for us aside from moving to the Polynesian Islands to help lower our stress?
Okay. Yeah. So obviously I will be guiding you through my 21 Reiki breaths meditation at the end. So it'd be nice for everybody to do that there. But there are several things that people can do. Obviously, our daily Reiki, when we're doing that, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, will start to raise our set point and give us some more resistance to stress. So having that daily practice consistently, you'll find that even if it's like a few weeks or even a couple of months, that things that used to stress you out no longer stress you out. So that's the kind of longer term strategy that I definitely recommend. The other things we can do in the moment, there's many things we can do. We can get a little bit more mindful when we're going through that anxiety. So getting anything that gets ourselves out of the head and into the room, into the present moment is going to be good. So just looking around the room, looking at what you can see, what you can hear, what you can smell and taste even. Just doing those things, you're moving away from the chatter that's causing that anxiety. The other thing we can do, there are certain breaths that people can do, box breathing, which is where you breathe in for 4, pause for 4, breathe out for 4, pause for 4, and just repeat that. Anything with the breath is that slows down the breath is telling the brain that you're safe and you're okay. So we're tricking the brain into turning on the parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation response, the rest and digest response. So that also helps us if we can do something. Any sort of breath with counting is going to be good. And the counting is a distraction. Not many people will latch on to 2. Oh, 2 reminds me of something. It's not going to remind them of anything traumatic, hopefully, if they're just counting. So that's another thing that can help with the breath and the counting. There's also the vagus nerve is very popular now. We have been working on the vagus nerve in Reiki and not even realized it when we're doing the throat chakra, whether we're offering someone Reiki or we're doing Reiki on ourselves. The vagus nerve starts in the ears. There's little branches in the ears. So when we're doing our ears, we're starting to relax ourselves. When we're doing the throat chakra, we're also relaxing ourselves. So even doing that and sitting there for a few minutes, we're going to be calming ourselves down. There are a few postures as well we can adopt. There's a brain synchronization posture, which very much reminds me of Kenya Kohol when we do our dry bathing, because it involves crossing over the body, which means that we engage both sides of the brain and we become whole-brained in a way. So that posture is crossing over the wrists, placing the palms facing each other, relaxing that down in your lap. And at the same time, you cross your ankles. So this crossing over the body means that both sides of the brain need to work together. And then it's said that after maybe 5-10 minutes, that anxiety will start to calm down. And it was used by the Brain Gym organization in the States in the 80s, really, for quite a while, to help children with ADHD or the elderly with maybe memory problems or balance problems. But it is really great to just, you can even meditate like this, but just crossing over the body, the wrists, and interlacing the hands, anything intricate like that, which involves left and right, will start to engage both sides of the brain. So that's something else that we can do. But the key thing is to really have that compassion. When we're there, we try really quickly to get out of it and we make it wrong, which makes it feel worse. So
Yeah.
sometimes there's a little bit of acceptance and understanding that we're okay. This is something that's passing through. Some of my students like to journal. So journaling their thoughts out, it has a space to come out of the body and be seen. And they're engaging the body as well, which is making it a little bit somatic. So yeah, there's many things that in the moment we can do just to bring everything down. But the breath is also really powerful if you can get to the breath. But sometimes it might need to start with just looking around and noticing where you are, having that compassion, and then trying to breathe a little bit more deeply than normal, even if it's just into the chest rather than into the lower belly. So yeah, these are things that we can do that will help.
That's a fantastic list of things to do in the moment. Getting present in the
Mhm.
room by engaging any of your five senses, the
Mhm.
breath work, the crossing over, so many options. Reiki, obviously, And I love how you talk about being compassionate with yourself. And I feel like that extends also to be compassionate to other people who may be stammering or freezing or behaving in a way that you don't recognize or understand in the moment, that they might be having anxiety and be in their reptilian brain and not who, they would like to be, or their best self. It helps to understand, oh, I see what's happening there. And I've had that happen to me, and here's how I would like it if people treated me. Here's how I'd like to
Yeah,
be treated in that moment. And I can extend that to other people, because you,
yeah,
you
that's a
see people go
fabulous
into panic
reflection.
mode. And if you don't see the
Hmm.
reason for their distress, then their behavior seems weird. But if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
understand that their feeling is valid and we don't have to understand why, I
yeah.
love the idea of compassion. Thank you for
Hmm.
bringing that up.
Oh, you're welcome. That's a fantastic point, though. It's an excellent point. The reaction to that anxiety can take many different shapes, including, as you said, lashing out, anger, walking away, because they're, as you said, they're in their fight or flight. Yeah, it's an amazing point. Thank you.
Yeah, and the last thing that someone needs when they're having a stressful situation, when they're not thinking clearly, is aggression from someone
Yeah.
who doesn't
Hmm.
understand what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that.
So I'm excited. One of my favorite part of these summit interviews is when we get to do techniques, and you're going to teach us the 21 Reiki breath technique that you've developed. Can you tell us a little bit about how you came up with it?
Yeah, obviously, I've understood that the breath is really important in calming us down, as I said. I also love doing things like Vipassana, a mindful meditation, silent meditation. And so understanding how we can use the breath to self-regulate is one of the sort of components really of this meditation. There are many breathwork practices out there, like Kundalini and things like that. And even Wim Hof, if you've heard of him, the Iceman, he has a very sort of strong breath as well. But I've always realized that it doesn't have to be such a strong, powerful, aggressive breath. A lot of it comes down to the fact that we don't breathe properly anyway. We breathe in a really shallow way, just into our throat. And then we have to consciously breathe into our chest, even, let alone breathing into our hara, the lower tendon, our lower belly. So even starting there allows some space and oxygen to come into the body, and allows us, that breath is allowing us to transmute those emotions in a compassionate way, because again, it's understanding that anxiety has some information for us, but we just can't access it when we're making it wrong in a way, as well as tricking the brain into thinking, okay, we're safe now because we're breathing in this kind of regular, deeper fashion. So one of the components is the breath and breathing into the hara. I guess similarly to what we would do with Joshin Kokuho or Hatsure Ho meditations, where we're breathing into our hara and cycling that breath a little bit. So that's one of the components. Obviously, Reiki is a big component of it. So we're going to be connecting to Reiki. If you're doing it for yourself, you can obviously dry bathe to start and finish if you want to, or however you connect and disconnect. But yeah, we'll be connecting to Reiki first of all, then moving into the breath. Another component of it is placing the hands on the body, which is again getting us out of our head and into the body, which is when we'll have our left hand on our heart chakra, and particularly the left hand, because in Chinese medicine, we have a heart meridian which runs from under the armpit into our what's this one? Our little finger, pinky finger. So that connects to the heart chakra. So we're creating a really nice circuit there. The hand is on the heart, supporting the heart and supporting the body. But that contact we then connect to. So we're moving ourselves out of our head. The other hand, the right hand, is going to be placed on our lower belly, on our hara, which is about 2 fingers below the navel. And that's, if anyone hasn't come across that, is part of the three tendons or the three diamonds. In China, they call them dantians, but that is the fire in our belly, the vitality, our connection to earth, and the hand is connecting to heaven. The left hand is connecting to heaven. So we're connecting those components really in terms of the three tendons. We're using the first two, but it is all about touching the body and bringing yourself back out of your mind and into your present, really. So that's a big component of it as well. Yeah, so that, and there is some counting. Obviously, it's 21 breaths, but the intention is not to get to 21 breaths, which is going to throw people a little bit, but it isn't really. because we will count one breath in and one breath out is one. And that's at your own pace, whatever that means for you, and as deep as you can go for you in that time. And then your mind will wander. And that's actually a good thing. Initially, it'll be annoying because your mind will be focused on the problem and the energy of the problem. And then I'll remind you every now and again to come back to the breath. You'll come back to the breath. And that's the victory, the choice to actually choose what you focus on. The power to choose what you focus on is where we start to train the mind. So we'll come back to the breath again. And again, we do that with complete compassion without making ourselves wrong or judging us or thinking, oh, I was lost in thought, I did it wrong. There's no wrong. When we have this anxious moment, it's a new perspective we're actually looking for, which will calm the anxiety down as well as the physiological things we're doing. And that's going back to your original question. That's one of the ways I discovered this. I was going through something myself, facing something that every time I thought about it, it was making me feel anxious. And I couldn't see any other perspective but my own at the time. And so I was being really narrow focused. And then I just lay there. So this can be done sitting up or lying down or even standing up if you wanted to. But I was lying down. I'd just woken up and went into it straight away because I could feel that anxiety in my solar plexus, the tightness of the body that we get when we know we're in that stress mode. And so I started doing this deep breathing and I thought, let me just do a few breaths. And rather than saying 3 breaths, 5 breaths, which finishes things a bit too soon, I said, okay, I'm going to do 21, which allowed me to sit in there. And I set my alarm for 15 minutes. And so I never got to 21. Not by a long shot. And I think it'd be like 1, 2, 3 breaths, and then my mind would wander and I'd come back. But I started noticing when my mind wandered, exactly what I said. I started thinking of, there were different ideas coming to me about this problem, another perspective of the other person that I could start to see. And then I go back to the breath again. Okay, maybe I'd only get to 2 before I'd be wandering again. And then, but the same thing, it felt better and better. And I could start to see the ease, or feel the ease, I should say, in my body. My body was starting to expand a little bit. And literally by the time I got to 15 minutes, that had gone. And that had turned to, there was a kind of joy in me and a peace in me. And that lasted since that point. And I was able to come up with a new way of talking about this thing I wanted to talk about with this person in a way that I could be heard without the charge of anxiety or anger or fear behind it. So, yeah, these are all the components really, but the aim isn't to get to 21 breaths. It's to give yourself space to just be with the breath. The thoughts come in, that's fine. You move back to the breath, but you're going to get your downloads, you're going to get your new insights. And then that really does soothe you. And as I said, because of the breath that's involved, it does transmute, but it doesn't come back about the same topic anyway. You may find a week's time you're anxious about something else, but you've got this technique now that you can do. And as I said, you can do it at work, you can lie down in bed and do it. You could be standing and start doing it. And it may just take you 5 minutes to get to that point of peace with it. Or you may use the full 15 minutes or feel you need to go longer. But yeah, I've just called it 21 breaths. We like 21 in Reiki. Anything that adds up to 3, we like in Reiki. But the aim isn't to get to 21. But they're the different components of that technique.
I love how gentle you are with the goals here, that your mind might wander, that's okay. And coming back, you
Yeah.
use the word victory. And I was like, oh,
Mm.
you're going to have victories throughout the course of this. That's fantastic. I understand we're counting, and if our mind wanders and we come back, we start over at 1. So you're saying
Mhm.
we might never get to 21 because that would be a long time. But after 15 minutes, we've still had a lot of mindfulness and some productive, possibly mind wandering. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Harnessing all aspects of this for our own
Mhm.
highest and greatest good.
Mhm. And of course, we've got the Reiki flowing in as well. We've set our intention to connect to Reiki, then placed our hand on our body. So you'll feel that too. You'll feel that energy. And that's also doing some work around it. So yeah, all of it together is making it really powerful.
Okay, great. So we're going to do this now?
Yes, we're going to do this now,
Okay.
Heather. Okay, so putting my crystals down. So just inviting everybody right now just to close their eyes for me. You can do this with your eyes open if you prefer, but it's a soft gaze if you've got your eyes open. And we're going to, first of all, we're going to start by taking 3 deep breaths in initially. So breathing into our lower belly, And it's a long, light breath. It's not too forced. And then when you're ready, breathing out through the nose or the mouth. If you are actually feeling anxious, it's a nice way to expel some of that energy. And then in your own time, we're doing that again. So a light, slow, deep breath in through the nose. Expanding the body, expanding the chest. And then as you breathe out, just relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your neck. And then one last time, breathing into the body. Notice the tummy moving out, the ribs moving out. And as you breathe out, just expanding your energy a little bit into the room, perhaps noticing the heaviness in your body, sinking deeper into your chair or bed. And now just breathing normally for you for a moment. And if you like, you can place your hands in Gosho or not, but we're just going to set an intention to connect to Reiki, to have that Reiki go where it needs to go for our highest good and the highest good of all living things. And you're going to visualize a beautiful light coming in from the universe above into the top of your head, your crown chakra, and breathing that deeper into your body. Seeing that light, that love energy filling up your body, your arms and hands, your legs and feet. And see that light going down through your feet into the center of the earth, grounding you in this practice as well. And then when you're ready, we're placing one hand on our heart chakra, the other on our sacral or hara point, 2 fingers below the navel. And you're just going to intend to do your 21 Reiki breaths. I won't be counting because people will be at different points. But the intention is just to lightly breathe into your lower belly, into your hara. And then when you're ready, releasing that breath in your own time. If it's difficult to breathe into your lower belly, or if it makes you feel a little bit nauseous, then you can make that shallower by breathing into your chest, your heart space, or even your throat. It's fine. So breathing in and out makes 1 count. And you're just relaxing as much as possible. Perhaps noticing the hand and how it supports the heart. Noticing the heart and how it is embracing this support from the hand. Become aware of the air as it enters your nostrils and the coolness of the air as it caresses the back of your throat. Just breathing deeply into the hara if you can, in your own way, in your own time. Each cycle of a breath in and a breath out is 1 count. You might become aware of the movement of the body, the chest lifting and lowering with every inhale and exhale. Your tummy expanding and relaxing as you bring that air into the body and release that air. You might notice what you can feel in your hands. Perhaps some heat, maybe some tingling. Just allowing whatever you can feel or sense to be okay. Soothing your thoughts if your mind is wandering. And just bringing your focus back to your breath, back to the air entering your nostrils, your hands on your body, and start the count again. And feeling any anxiety, just letting that be there, letting it be okay, not making it wrong. Breathing in and relaxing out. Again, if you're lost in thought, acknowledging that with kindness and coming back to the breath. Checking in with how you're feeling, where that anxiety is right now. It might be less, it might be the same. Just letting whatever it is be okay. You might want to focus on your hara, your lower belly, the energy coming in and out of that space, building the energy there, fueling your fire, your internal flame. And if you're attuned to your symbols, you may want to focus on symbols, the Seiki symbol, maybe seeing a big golden Seiki symbol in front of you, moving closer and entering your heart space, calming the mind, releasing any thinking that isn't serving us, helping us connect to the truth of who we are. And coming back to the breath, perhaps one final time. And placing the hands in Gosho. Giving thanks for this Reiki healing. Thanks for any guidance or new insights we've received. And if you like, you're welcome to dry bathe, kinyoku-ho, or however you disconnect. Bringing your energy back into your body. And then relaxing the hands. Perhaps taking one energizing deep breath to help us connect with the here and now. Become more aware of any sounds you can hear in the room. Become more aware of my voice. And when you're ready in your own time, you're welcome to open your eyes and come back to me.
Gwen, that was so beautiful. Your voice is so soothing, such a beautiful guide through that process.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That was lovely.
Got very hot. A lot of energy.
Energy. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, I think just setting your alarm for 15 minutes, going through that process. Obviously, I'm adding things, keeping it really simple, which is just to focus on the breath in and out of the hara, counting. When you get lost in thought, it's fine. Come back and begin again at one. But you will definitely start to get some things come through when the mind wanders a little bit, but connecting with the body and the Reiki. So keeping it really simple.
Mhm.
But hopefully they can come back and I guess listen to this again if they need some guidance on it. But I'm sure by the end of that 15 minutes, they'll be in a much better space than when they started, for sure. And then doing the daily self Reiki, that will help fortify them when it comes to anxiety. So yeah.
Absolutely. And all the things that you mentioned earlier. It was just a wonderful collection of techniques, a whole toolkit of how to deal with anxiety that will be really beneficial to everyone who's watching. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, Gwen, and I understand that you have 50 affirmations to offer up via a link below the recording. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So another way of helping to move away from anxious moments is to train the mind to think positively about certain things in certain areas of our life. So I have a list of 50 affirmations, but it's 10 for each area of our life. So 10 for life in general, 10 for wealth, 10 for health, 10 for love, 10 for career, business. That someone can just repeat that daily to start to train their mind to think positively about these areas. It's great if they record it because our subconscious mind loves to hear our own voice. We are the master of our subconscious mind. So there's nothing more powerful, can't stress enough, Heather, than us recording in our phone. You've got the little memo in your phone, read
Hmm.
the affirmations, record it. You can create your own as well. And then you listen to that as you fall asleep. It can even be really low because your subconscious mind is really powerful. It can hear it. But that starts to shift. This is something I did really early on in my spiritual career, and it's just phenomenal how powerfully it works because it's almost like a self-hypnosis, but it's your
Yeah.
voice, no one else's voice. So it really resonates with your inner self. So yeah, that's available for people to download, and then they can print that off and then just be reading that every day or whenever they feel they need an uplift in a particular area, they can read that. But I highly recommend they record it if they can, for sure.
What a great
Um,
idea.
yeah.
Fantastic. Because what we're talking about, that we have worry and that we've conditioned to be worrying. And so
Mm.
not to punish ourselves to be about being worriers, but creating a new reality with this more positivity. And you're offering up this fantastic tool to do that. So thank you
Yes.
so much for that. And
You're
also,
welcome.
it would be lovely if people had the recording of the 21 breath meditation that we just did. We're going to have a link below or have that available on your site as well that people can have access to so they can
Hmm.
repeat that on their own with your beautiful narration of that process.
Thank you. Thank
So
you. Yes.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, if they click the link, they'll just need to sign up and that'll be sent to them, or they'll have access to it on the website as well. And they can listen to it then anytime they like. They can download it and listen to it. So yeah, I'm glad that's going to be available for them because it has all of our
Perfect.
energy in it.
Yes. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about on this topic that we have not yet covered?
No, I think that's it. I think the main thing really is just that compassion. Life's tough enough without having other people. We have so many people pushing us this way and that way without us doing that for ourselves. So when we start to train our mind, even just a little bit, just to soothe what we're feeling and thinking, even that is stopping the other narrative of negativity from taking control and spiraling. But even if we don't make it that day, and we won't always make it, we won't always get there, that compassion is the key thing, really. As Mikhail Usui said, be kind to ourselves, be kind to others. It's a key thing, really, in our healing journey for sure. So hopefully everybody remembers that when they're feeling anxious. It's not failure, and a lot of the time there's information coming from that anxiety for sure.
An excellent reminder. I want to thank you so
Mm.
much for everything you brought to us today and for being here
Mm.
with us. It's been such a pleasure.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for having me, Heather. It's been lovely to meet you and to talk to you. And I'm so happy you've given me this space to share that meditation and that insight. And I really hope it brings people peace. So, yeah, thank you so much.
And thank you to the Summit family for tuning in with us today.
Mm.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.